right, and we're live. Welcome to Confidence on Camera. My name is Linda Potgieter, and if we haven't met, I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a businesswoman, and I'm the founder of Linda Page. I equip men and women to get up, dress up, and be a bold light on a hill and become confident through the power of personal style, which really in itself, folks, is a little bit ironic because I did not grow up confident. I was not a confident woman my entire life. I am pushing 50, and it was only pretty recently in the last couple of years that I really landed at a place where I do feel confident. What I have been my whole life, what I did always have was boldness or balls, whatever you want to call it, okay? I've always been ballsy, I've always been bold, but it's not the same as being confident. And there is a way. So when it comes to, so here we are, right, almost post COVID-19, and different countries are kind of catching up with the new way of life. And in fact, we're pretty much beyond the digital era, but now you don't have a choice. Right now, if you're working or if you're running a business, you have no choice but to be online. And you may not even be a business. Maybe you're single and you don't want to be. You have to do some online dating and online video meeting, more and more. So the reason that I'm here, the reason that I'm even doing this is because I know what it's like to feel shaking in your boots. I know what it's like to lack confidence. I know the pain of feeling like I'm going to throw up because I've got to get on stage and I have to do a presentation. I know how it feels to think I'm way out of my depth. Why did they ask me to do this? Oh, it's because you've got balls, Linda. So, okay, just get up, dress up, and fake it till you make it, right? That's really what I did years ago. But that's a stressful way of life. That makes you go gray young. 27 is when I went platinum, is what I call it. I don't really call it gray. Anyway, so as I said, if we haven't met, my name is Linda. I am very, very privileged to have been in business for probably about over 31 years now. I've had the privilege of traveling the world, 43, 44 countries. I have two beautiful children. I have a very handsome and powerful husband who I've learned a lot from. I had the amazing privilege of working on the late and great Nelson Mandela's PR and communications team, and I've learned a lot. I have learned so much from so many different people. What I want to do today, the reason why I'm doing this is I want to give you a simple 10-point checklist of the things that I've been doing for years and years and years that have become, it's like second nature to me right now. And from the red curtain behind me, it's good to try different things. The fact of the matter is, I always ask myself, how am I going to do this? I want to tell you something, okay? I felt nervous right before we went on camera. Now, I've been on camera for a long time, years and years and years, okay, from my early 20s. So that's a long time. I've been on video camera. I've been doing video conferencing internationally. But this is new for me because I'm trying a couple of different things. I'm trying a brand new, real soft velvet fabric background. All right, I'm going to be talking to you about backdrops and how to set up your professional environment for your online life. And my corporate colors are red, black, and white. Red is my number one favorite color on the planet. I actually teach the power of red. But this is new for me. I'm trying different things. And it kind of threw me a little bit. And I'm going to track it and see how I feel. And it's a very bold environment to be.
Hang on, guys. Sorry, I think we are having some technical difficulties here. Yes, she is frozen. Let me just give me a second and we will try and get her back with us. All right, 1 second. Lila, I'm messaging her, but not having any luck.
Are we back?
Hang on.
Hey.
Okay, let me get rid of the other version of you. 1 second.
But as we can see in the chat, like, you've frozen in such a great frame. Most of the people have like these weird faces, but yours just.
All right, we're back. Listen, thank you, Lila. Thank you, Savannah. You guys are awesome. Listen, I did not plan that, okay? Let me just tell you something. That part of my 10 steps that I'm about to share with you is shit's going to happen. The technology is going to fall over. Okay. Maybe someone bumped the cable under the sea. Maybe something happened somewhere. We don't have control of that. That's actually perfect. As we lost signal, I'm like, shit, what happened? And this is really a demonstration of the fact that you just got to roll with it, friend. You just got to go with it. And actually, that's relaxed me a little bit, because you don't want to go after this polished, perfect presentation, because that's just not human, okay? And it's not possible, and nobody expects that anyway. So thank you, Lord, that we are back online. And if you're a praying woman, then pray, okay? I pray, I'm like, please, God, would you just reconnect us? So whatever that looks like, the fact of the matter is, on the other side of this camera is actually my point number 1 of the 10 steps that I'm bringing your way right now. Point number 1 is you've got to remind yourself that we are all human. On the other side of this camera, I know that there are men and women who will have grace and will have patience, mostly, hopefully, and not get frustrated in the first few seconds. So I remind myself of that if I give it my best shot, that if I'm like, okay, you know what, there's nothing more that I can do about this. I get up, I dress up, I'm bringing all my expertise. I want to just help. I want to bring value. I know what it's like to struggle with this stuff. And I know that on the other side of the camera, even though I can't see you, are men and women who also have been through things like this, who also are giving their best shot, who also are facing a new way of life online, both personally and professionally, and just rolling with it, okay? So that's point number 1, is give yourself space for grace. You're human. You're not a robot. You are not expected to deliver this perfect presentation. What you do want to maintain, obviously, is a very, very high level of excellence. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Don't want to compromise on anything. You really, really want to have a spirit of excellence in everything that you do. And they're not mutually exclusive, the two. At the same time, running in parallel is the fact that we're human. All right. So if ever I'm on your presentation and it happens, I'm going to be rooting for you, saying, man, you got this. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you the 10-point checklist. And then I want to demonstrate something really powerful to you online. I'm going to show you that actually this digital environment that you're experiencing, that maybe you feel a lack of confidence in, if you're not someone who is confident on camera, if you're not someone who is really experienced on both video and on still camera, I'm going to give you something that's going to help you to see this potential barrier as now a bridge to people. And that's why it's important to humanize it. But I'm going to show you that the opportunity exists, especially if you do presentations and sales on video. I'm going to show you something very powerful that's going to help you to take this digital space and put a couple of visuals up and just absolutely powerfully influence people's thoughts and their actions. So if you're in sales, or if you work for yourself and you need to persuade and to sell and to close, well, then I'm your girl, because there is a very powerful way to do that. All right. So step number 1, we said we're all human. Give yourself space for grace. I just was dipped into the baptism of fire of when things fall down. Hey, we're human. Okay. So at number 2 this is something I ask myself when I'm faced with doing something new or something bigger or something much more significant. And I call it Linda language. Like, I have conversations with myself all the time. It helps me. You do too. So I ask myself, how am I going to simplify and systemize? Those two things are key for me. It really makes me feel more confident. So you want to simplify and systemize. And I'm going to show you exactly what I use for my backdrops and my microphones and my cameras and everything. There is not one way to do this. There are many, many different ways to do this, right? This is just one perspective and one way that actually works very successfully for me. So, but it's really important that at number 2, you want to say, okay, I have these presentations twice a week, and it's at this time and that time, and you need to figure out and write down what it is in that environment that you're expected to do, or that you expect your audience to do. Is it Q&A? Is it engagement? Is it direct presentation only? What is the environment? What's the format? And then simplify it and systemize it by way of both the technology as well as your presentation delivery. We can talk about that a little bit later on. But those two things at point number 2, simplify and systemize, will give you a lot of confidence. And that includes the room that you're in. That includes the office space, the professional space that you're creating, because you need to remember that people are looking at you. People are watching you. If you are one of 100 people on a Zoom call, don't make the mistake that no one's looking at you. The host or the presenter or other people are watching you, and people make decisions on how you behave and whether or not you're distracted and whether or not you're focused and paying attention and what you're wearing. Okay, that we'll talk about a little bit later. So number 2 is simplify and systemize. And I'm going to give you these 10 points as a checklist. And once you set that up, once you get that going, and once you just basically do it, apply and repeat, it'll become second nature. And then what it gives you is a kind of like an 80-20. I love 80-20. I love Pareto. He was Italian as far as I remember. The Pareto principle is 80-20. I love establishing foundations that take care of 80% of everything. And then I just customize and I just tweak about 20%. That's my simplify and my systemize. All right, so that's number 2. And then at number 3 is your office, the space. Okay, so there are 4 points out of this 10 that I'm actually going to go to a notebook and I'm going to give you some bullet points underneath that. But the first one of this is your office space. Now, what I've got here is just a little flip file of my own, and I've got some notes in here, but I'm going to show you how I do cheat sheets as well, okay? Because I'm not a robot. There ain't no way in hell I'm going to remember the 10 points and the sub bullet points, and there's a way to do it. So the first one is your office. Now, the notes, the notebooks that you use and the props and the tools that you use also say something, okay? So I've got something on the front of mine here that says, I love my body. It's part of what I do full time. I work with incredible women where we just say, screw that, we're not doing that anymore. Because while we criticize our butts and our boobs and our bellies, our low self-esteem and our poor body image is contagious, and we raise other kids to do that, and we're not doing that. But that's another conversation for another time. And on the back of it is my little girl Paige's butterfly that she drew for me a long time ago. So what I want to show you is you can bring little props into your presentation to humanize the connection that you want to make with people, because that's what it's all about. Life is all about people and all about connection. And when you connect emotionally and when you connect sincerely and you really want to bring value, then that creates a rapport with people. So you don't want to behave any differently on camera than you do then if you walk into a boardroom and you and I get together, shake hands and sit down and have a cup of coffee and get going with our meeting. Okay, you want to be consistent in your message. So that's your verbal and your nonverbal, and that's your online and in person. Your message has got to be simple and it's got to be consistent. But you can do little things like this because there are moms who have part-time businesses on this webinar, and I want to remind them, hey, I'm a mom too. From one mom to another, you can do this. I can do it. I'm doing it. Am I doing it perfectly? Hell no. There's no such thing in my life, but I'm doing it. All right. So then all I've got is a couple of notes, and I want to read them out to you. So the environment you want to create for your presentation or for your online meeting or for your video conferencing is one that has to be professional and clean and organized. All right. So I'm trying a few different things. I'm actually currently in my lounge in my home, and I have my office further down the hall as well. And that has a different setup. So I'm busy trying different things. It's really important that you kind of go with the flow and you try. It's like trying on a new dress or trying on a jacket, right? You want to see if it fits, because this is an outfit. This is something that says it has a bold message. So I'm kind of currently playing around my black, white, and red corporate branding colors in my backdrop. But this is something that you really want to test and track and see if you like it. And if I don't like it, I'm going to switch back to what I had. But it's really important to try it. So your whole environment that you use to get online with really needs to be clean and uncluttered and organized and professional. Okay, so you've got to put yourself in other people's positions. So if I look to my right here and I see a couple of people on the video on the Zoom, small little squares, I'm picking up a couple of things very quickly already. With the people that are looking at me right now, I've already noticed a couple of things about them. That's not good or bad, but I'm noticing it because I've trained my eye to have great attention to detail, for many years now. But that's a really good thing to have, is attention to detail, because it's the little things that will either set you up or let you down. Okay, it's really the little things. So your office environment must communicate. It's just like what you wear. If you wear something sloppy and you're in your tacky tracky, you're communicating that you're sloppy and you may be a little bit tardy with your work. So you want to make sure that your environment presents and communicates the person that you are and the values that you have. Okay, so if your environment needs a little bit of redecorating, maybe your office environment that you have online needs a makeover. Okay, so it's not just us who need to get up and dress up, and that really is important. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if your environment needs tidying up, the best thing to do is to create a space that you don't have to change all the time, that you don't have to manage every time you get online. You want to create a dedicated space that you can come in, your technology is the same, 80% is the same, maybe it's just your outfit and just your message for the day is different. There you have a system and it gets simpler and it builds confidence. But if you need to, you've got to think about things that inspire you. Do you love plants? Are you someone who loves light? And remember, when it comes to windows, windows need to be in front of you. That's part of my list here. Your window cannot be behind you if you are getting online. Doesn't matter what it's for. It makes it difficult for you to see your screen, and also it makes it difficult for other people to see you. So it completely darkens you. So any window space that you have, your light needs to come in from in front of you and to the side of you and not behind you. All right, and then obviously if you've got zero light, then you need to use lighting, and we'll talk about that on technology. So backdrops we've spoken about a little bit, all right? So in terms of backdrops for your video conferencing or your online meetings, there's a lot of conversation about do we green screen or no green screen. That is a very, very personal decision. I have tried green screens. I do not like them. They don't work for me. I feel artificial. I feel like a hologram that's floating in front of this beautiful space behind me. Doesn't mean it's wrong for you. Just means it's not right for me. Remember, you've got to try something on because you're in this environment, and what is on you and around you is part of your message. And it communicates whether or not you are comfortable and confident. And you want to be confident online, because confident people who are saying something verbally and non-verbally and have the environment saying the same thing come across as far more trustworthy than those who don't. So it's really important that you take a minute and go, okay, what kind of backdrop do I want? Try the green screen if you haven't before. There are some amazing, very formal business corporate office looking like backdrops that I've seen, that I actually have seen on somebody else hosting a video conference. I'm like, man, that looks amazing. But I've tried it a number of times. It doesn't work for me for whatever reason. So I go with more natural, very organized, pretty bold backgrounds, but they must be natural. I don't seem to work well with synthetic. So you really need to check that out and what works for you. And if you are a nature lover and you want to communicate that, then that's okay. But remember, you want to connect with your audience. So if you are a nature lover and you're all about animals and flora and fauna, is it appropriate that you bring that into your business meeting? You've got to find out. If you need a more formal environment, you want to maybe separate your personal preferences out of that and create a smart environment. It's really not difficult to get online and have a look. Google, ask Siri, ask Google. There's so many people online who you can connect with, and they won't judge you for asking. But you want to get online and literally type in the words that you want to find inspiration on. You might say something like formal office non-green screen backdrop, and you will find all kinds of websites and videos on YouTube. YouTube is actually great. I think there's a lot of amazing people in the world who are getting onto YouTube and saying how to create a natural non-green screen background, how to. So don't be afraid to get online and check those things out and have a look. It is up to us to invest the time and the effort and oftentimes the money to position ourselves confidently. All of these things really make a big difference. Okay, so we've spoken about backdrops for a minute. Positive energy, of course, is what you want to be creating. So you need to make sure that you have eaten your food. Whenever it is, you can't sit on your video conference feeling hungry and hearing your tummy rumbling and being distracted by that, especially if you are the host and you're presenting. You want to make sure you've got a glass of water here like I do, because, if you know me, I talk a lot. And maybe one of the reasons why I enjoy digital, whether it's in person or online, I love to talk. I love chatting. I love connecting. I love people. And that really helps. But I know not everyone is like that. But you want to make sure you have a lot of energy. At the moment, for me, it's about 25 past 10 at night. I'm currently in South Africa, and I've been working internationally for many, many, many years. So it's no problem for me. But I did have a little morning nap this morning, knowing that I'm going to need extra energy. And I had my dinner at the same time. So you want to create a positive environment that's got energy both from the office that you're in, but as well, obviously, as from your body. We've spoken about whether or not you want to create an intimate or a more formal environment and message from your backdrop. But I think there's a lot of people who make the assumption, and it's not a correct one, that you have no connection with people online. It's not true. Just because you and I are not face-to-face in person right now doesn't mean we're not having a connection. If you genuinely are investing your time on the other side of this camera, listening to some chick with a weird accent that you've never heard before talk about being confident on camera, then you are investing your time, you are giving something to this, and I definitely am here and I'm going to be experiencing it. Because I can see, if I look quickly to my right, I can see some faces, I see some smiling faces, I see some people really focusing and frowning, I see some people taking notes, I see some awesome hairstyles, I see a beautiful woman smiling with red lipstick on, and so I see some friends, I see some people that I know and love. I see Alma, hello beautiful Alma. I see my awesome brother and friend Siggy from Atlanta. Most of the people on here I don't know. Mark, Raven is online. Hello. So what I want to tell you, I see Doug, my friend Doug. I see David Dorego. I see some amazing people. I also see a whole bunch of incredibly interesting looking people that I've never seen in my life. What I'm telling you is that we are having a connection right now. And you want to do things like I've just done. Can you see, I've just initiated a few smiles. I've just initiated, I see Annie, I see Rebecca. I've just initiated a little bit of contact. And so from time to time, you want to mention people's names, not to pull them in to have a conversation, but you want to make a connection at every opportunity. Don't make the mistake of thinking that because it's digital, because there's a piece of technology in front of you, that you're not connecting and that it's not important. No. In fact, if you just be yourself, and if you are on camera the way that you are in person, you're going to be making connection. All that's missing right now is I can't hear you, okay? Because there's not just one of you, but we are going to be having a Q&A, and I hope that we can connect. So you do have a connection online, and don't let the physical black mirrored, the screen in front of you or the camera or the tripod, don't let it be a barrier in your mind. You want to move the technology out the way, and you want to every now and again be able to see the beautiful faces, because I need to see that. So you can see that I'm looking directly in the camera. So right below me, and I'm going to show you a different view just now, right below me, I can see my hands moving because I'm very demonstrative, and sometimes I have to manage that because doing this online all the time can be very distracting for you. But every now and again, I cast a view to the right and I see a handsome man by the name of Larry who's smiling, and I feel good. It makes me feel like I'm connecting with someone, okay? So you want to connect. I'm going to mention some really simple things that you might think, okay, that's obvious, but I mention them because I see it so much. You want to have a decent chair and a decent desk and some stationery. I mention it because it lets people down a lot. Often when I'm on a presentation and the host, or if I'm the host and we say, okay, we're just going to write down a few things, and someone gets up and goes and gets a pen. Okay, you want to have a little table, so if you're not at a desk, which is at the right height, which is comfortable, and a chair that doesn't belong in the bonfire because you've had it for 27 years, but it's a good, solid, upright, professional chair, and it's holding you properly and giving you good posture. You want to have to the right a glass of water or your cup of coffee or whatever it is, and you want to have stationery and pen and paper. There might be something else that you need potentially. So it's really important that you see, okay, I'm walking into a boardroom and I'm going to be sitting down and I'm having this meeting. There's no difference online. You want to honor the time that you're putting in, and you want to honor the time of the people that you're going to be meeting with. All right, so that's really, really important. And then the last note I've had over here before we move on to the next point is take full charge of your space, okay? So this is part of confidence, is to claim the space around you. I don't know if you've noticed a lot of men do this intentionally, and a lot of men don't even know that they do this. And I don't know if you can see, we won't move the cameras, but I don't know if you've noticed that men will sit with their legs wide open, okay, and their knees are like wide apart. That is called a power play. That is claiming, dominating their space, okay? You can do that on camera in a little less kind of masculine way, all right? So I'm not saying spread your legs, okay? Let me make it very clear, all right? I'm not saying spread your legs on camera, okay? I've said that twice, and I'm recording it, so I have it on record. It's not what I said. What I'm saying is claim the space around you with your hands. So if you're presenting and you are a demonstrative person with your hands, then you want to use your hands. If you tied my hands behind my back right now, I struggle to find the next word, because you have to know yourself well. Knowing thyself is a really important part of confidence. So if you're someone who needs that, you need a bit of space to the right and left like I do, then don't give yourself an office digital environment that is going to constrict you this way. All right. So you want to claim your space, you want to use your space, and you want to make it your own. Do not be conformed to what everybody else is doing. There are a lot of people I've seen, amazing people who've got incredible experience and business expertise, and almost all of them have got the same backdrop the last, I would say, at least 2 years. I mean, like, what's up with that? That it's okay if you like it and you're inspired by it and you do it, but you want to, you know why you want to be set apart? You know why you want, because you become noticeable. If you have 10, 20 or 100 people on a call with you and everyone's got the same backdrop and you're blending in blandly into the background, how are you going to get the opportunity that you want? How are you going to get your question answered? How are you going to get noticed? And if you're someone who doesn't like to be noticed, well, we can have a conversation at the end of that and ask me that question, because I have a very simple answer for you. There is good news about being noticed. It's actually not about you. You have value to give. You are worthy. You have skills. You can help people. That's why when you wear red lipstick, you're attracting attention to your smile. And people around us need that. People around us need encouragement and upliftment and edification. So my last note on where are we? Point number 3 is claim your space, do not conform, and ask yourself, what is the message that I want to communicate? What are my values? And when people don't see me, because remember, we're a fickle people, we only get a couple of seconds to create a first impression. And sometimes that's it. And if you're in a sea of people on digital, you've got about 2.5 seconds if you're lucky, okay? If that officially, statistically, even those point something seconds differentiate. But how fickle are we that I give you an hour, 1.5 seconds to make a good impression? If you don't, I move on. That is just the world that we live in. It doesn't mean that we are mean people. It doesn't mean that we're bad people. It actually has to do with the 7 metacognitives that we learn from. So we're not going to go into that right now, but you might have heard that different people learn in different ways, right? So some people are more intrapersonal, some people are more kinesthetic, some people are more interpersonal. The fact of the matter is, we all have all 7 preferences with which we do life, connect, and live and learn. We just have the preferences in different order of play. I am number 1, high on my list, I'm visual. Anything visual really inspires and motivates and often distracts me, which is why I've got to be really careful about managing my environment to not be distracted. But what I've noticed on the right-hand side here, on my view, is there's a lot that I've noticed visually. And, you know, from people's hair to the smiles to what they're wearing to sometimes what they're doing. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And so there's a very interesting guy here, John. He's got a very cute, you know, man band on his head. And to me, that's interesting. And you see, there's a smile. So thank you, John, for bringing a smile to my face. And Tammy, you look beautiful. There's that same Tammy I saw just now with red lipstick. So, and Alma has got the most interesting specs on, by the way. That's an accessory, and it's part of your fashion, it's part of your outfit. So you want to just make sure that you're communicating the right thing, and remember, there's always a connection. All right, so we're going to move on to number 4, which is technology. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water because I know I tend to pick up speed when I get excited. So I'm going to slow myself down. That's something you need to know about yourself. All right, I know that I actually have a digital coaching program, and on the settings, you can actually slow me down. My clients sometimes put me in half the speed that I normally go at, because I get it. But, you know, you could also listen faster. It's like, I'm kidding. All right, so At number 4 on the 10-step checklist is tech tools. I even wrote down tech tools. And by the way, if you'd like to connect with us later and just double check this list with us, you can do that. But I even put tech tools because the word technology makes me go, oh, okay, because I don't enjoy it. Can I do it? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. No. It's like numbers. I would rather run 5 miles in high heels, although I'm not sure that I would damage my heels like that, but you get my point. So tech tools for me is, okay, these are just tools. They're just props that I need to understand and implement to put them in place. So here I've got a couple of bullet points for you as well. Clearly, for any digital conferencing or meeting or presentations, you've got your desktop or your laptop or your phone, right? So with those screens with which you view one another, just do remember on your camera as well to clean it from time to time, because it gets dirty and we play around with it and all kinds of things happen. So you want to have a clean screen. So that's your camera and your screen on your laptop, your desktop, or your phone. Now, listen, it happens to me pretty regularly still. Like, I've been doing this for years, but sometimes if I put my iPhone this way, so landscape, and I've done it 100 times before and I've recorded something or I've gone live, once or twice, I'm like, how did it end up that way? I've written it down, I've tested it, I've tracked it, whatever. I can't give you an answer. All I know is you need to check, test, practice when it comes to technology. You need to know that before I did all of that before this webinar, and what happened in the first 30 seconds, we crashed. Okay, so it is what it is. But here's a couple of things that I'm going to show you that I use, and this is not an exhaustive list of what you need to go and get. This is just what works for me. So I used to travel a lot, not so much anymore. I'm a partner actually in a global negotiation training business as well. And so we do a lot of online meetings, video conferencing, recording, and filming. And so I literally want to pick up, I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm sure it is, but I know I'm not supposed to do this, okay? This is a Samson microphone. It's super, super easy. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere, but I've got a simple tripod, and I've had this Samson microphone for a long, long time now. It's really, really good quality. It's easy to transport. It's very, very mobile, and you can plug it out and take it anywhere with you. So the first thing you want to make sure is that you have a decent microphone. That is, of course, if you're doing talking and presenting, and if you're connecting in a way where you need really good quality sound, because perhaps your laptop or your desktop is not sufficient. You need to test that out. You need to get feedback. The second thing I've got, which I'm looking into right now, is a camera also available online or Amazon, and it's a Logitech. It's an HD 1080p, okay? I'm just giving the detail in case somebody here wants to write it down. It works for me. It's teeny tiny. It's very, very mobile, and you can put it onto your laptop or your phone or your desktop anywhere you go. So it's a Logitech HD 1080p. It's the simplest thing that I've worked with. It is very, very good quality. Like I say, it's very, very mobile, and I can take it wherever I go. It's extremely versatile, and it's got great delivery in terms of quality. Okay, the fourth thing that you're going to want to get if you do this on a regular basis, and if you are doing more and more online, is a decent set of headphones. In the past, I've used some that they're really, and you need to understand whether or not, I'm not even kidding you, whether or not your ears are sensitive. I seem to have, for some reason, really skinny ears, okay? And skinny ears and skinny ankles and skinny wrists. The rest is like very voluptuous. That's fine. I love my body. So is my husband, okay? My ears, though, are skinny and bony. So I struggle with wearing certain kinds of headphones. So my husband very kindly just yesterday bought me a new set, and they cover my whole ear. And it's like heaven. It's like heaven's headphones. They cover my whole ear. So if you struggle with headphones, you really need to get some that cover your whole ears. And they are, it's a total game changer. For two reasons. Don't skimp on your headphones. It's for sound and for microphone. Okay, so the mic that is built into it and the sound quality is, like I said, it's a game changer. And some people like the speaker over here, and whatever it is, just figure it out for yourself. But having a good pair of headphones is important. The tripod we've covered again. You can use that for, it packs out. It packs up really small. It's very mobile. You can take it when you're traveling. And we'll get to this in a minute. What you don't want to do is hold it and make people dizzy, okay? Oftentimes I have to look away when I'm watching a really valuable message. The content's amazing, but I literally have to listen and not look because there's so much movement. A tripod will just take that whole problem away. All right, so lighting, okay? We have 3 lights around us. Lighting is, you can get extremely technical about it. I mean, I've got a friend, a really good friend, Chris Jones. He's a wonderful, highly successful filmmaker in London at Ealing Film Studios. His last short film was Oscar nominated and made the top 5 for shorts at the Oscars. The man is phenomenal. And he knows a lot about lighting. But I've learned something. It's like, I've learned a lot from him, but I also am not at his level of technology and of, you know, global film or filmmaking in London. That's not where I'm at. My audience is different. Some of it is more business and some of it is more direct to consumer with our coaching. So I have got basically around me, I've got 2 lights to the side and 1 in the front. And sometimes depending on what you are doing and depending on the backdrop, you want to put one low to give you some uplighting from the bottom. All depends on what you want to do. I actually tried the low light behind this with the red curtain and actually made it look like a green screen red curtain. So we switched it off and it made all the difference. If you are a blogger or vlogger and you don't do this on such a regular basis, you do have the round ring light that a lot of people use. But I find that light is quite a lot harsher. And especially if you're doing video and photo, you know, stills and recording and lives, I just find that these 3 lights are quite easy and you can put the cover over them and you can soften it. And once again, just jump onto Google and just go into, I think Savannah at the end may even have a website for us where you can go and they can show you when you move the light where the shadow will fall on you. And if you put it in front, where it goes below, it's really, really valuable stuff. These are skills that you need to learn and they're not technical. Hey, if I can do it, you can do it. But we need to just go and figure out if the light is over there, where does the shadow fall? And then you want to write it down and systemize it so that every time you set up, if you're not set up permanently, you know exactly what to do. All right. Zoom versus WebEx versus other. So many of you who were registered from last week already, you'll see that we switched over from WebEx to Zoom. I wasn't going to do a Q&A, but we have had a lot of questions already. So I decided to include a short Q&A at the end. And Zoom just seems to be much more versatile and much easier for that. So whether it's Zoom though, or whether it's WebEx, Zoom, by the way, also does excellent breakout rooms. You can host a video conference and you can have various breakout rooms for different conversations and different meetings going on at the same time. And it's, again, you know, when you get onto a Zoom call, typically you'll be automatically muted. But I mean, comedians are making jokes about this, the fact that, you know, we live in a world where the presenter goes, could you just mute? Hello, you're in the middle of something, and then 3 people jump on, and then you've got like feedback from everybody's, what's for dinner, and the kids, and that's okay, it's life. But you want to just get on and make sure 2 things are happening: that you're muted and that you're not on video. Unless you are supposed to be on video, just make sure that you're muted there. And normally the host will tell you, okay, here's a chat box. If you have a question, they're going to tell you how to do that. But when we get to the Q&A, then the beautiful Lila and Savannah will tell you exactly what to do. They're amazing. So choose what you're comfortable with. All of these things are free. So if I have 500 people on a presentation, then I will be using and paying for a professional or a business version of WebEx or Zoom or whatever it is, because the baseline free versions will give you less capacity. So they maximize you on how long you can run a meeting, and they limit you on how many numbers of people you can have on your meeting. So if you are a professional and you're going to be doing this more and more, I encourage you to invest in, and sometimes they're only like $10 or $15 or $20 a month, depending on what level you're at. So you want to go for the slightly more pro and the business version. All right, so you want to record and archive your meetings, your presentations, because there is oftentimes you can repurpose your content. So depending on what kind of business you're in, of course, you also may want to record it and watch it and then fine tune it. And this is what the professionals do. This is what highly successful people do. They practice, they simulate, they dry run, they test, they track. The biggest companies in the world, the most successful companies in the world, do not attend a meeting or a negotiation or an event without having run a dry run and a simulation for that very event. So you want to make sure that you record your event and then understand, where are you going to archive it? Are you filing your stuff on the cloud? Is it going in a small separate hard drive? it really is important that you figure that out, because data is highly valuable, your time is highly valuable, and your skills and potentially your next sale might be in that recording that you watch and go back on and debrief on. All right, so let's wrap up on this. Oh yes, another point here was things will go wrong with technology. Well, we've done that and we've covered that already. Okay, got 2 last things to say over here. I've written down, can we please not have a tour of your nose? Okay, now I don't know if anyone here is in that setting, but I want to tell you something. The unintentional tours that I've had into people's noses has been interesting, because what you don't want to do is everything is perfectly set up, and then you're over here and you put the thing down here, okay? And we get to see your nose hairs, and we get to see, you don't have a double chin, but suddenly now you've got 3 chins, and now we get to see all kinds of things down here that really is not helpful for you as a professional, really is not helpful if you're doing online dating and that's your first meeting, okay? You want to have at eye level or just above, all right? So mine is usually directly at eye level or slightly above, and I'll tell you why. There's a reason for that as well. So make sure that the thing is not below eye level, because then you're looking down and it gives a whole different message as well. When you talk to someone, you're not looking down at their feet. So you're not looking this way, okay? You want to be eye level. Eye contact is so important. It makes that connection. We can see what you're saying, and while you're talking, especially if you are invited to talk on this thing, then you want to make sure that people are not looking up your nose, okay? And the last thing I want to say on this in terms of technology, once everything is set up and you've been all pro about what you're wearing and the presentation around you, is please also don't invite us into your disco, okay? Everything's moving. There's a lot going on. There's so much distraction that the presenter is distracted and everybody else is distracted looking at what's going on around you in your life. And it kind of makes people want to not invite you to the party again, because the party is the meeting, okay? The focus is the meeting. So it's so important that you focus. It's so dishonoring that if you, I've seen this. I've attended recently a video conference, and there's been a guy who's, so the camera's been over here and he's been faced this way. Every now and again, he'll turn around, forgetting that he's on camera, just going, talking to someone, saying, hey, have a cup of coffee. Okay, bring me a cup of coffee. And everybody is just thinking, okay, dude, listen, we love you. You're probably awesome. But what you're doing is not helpful. You're communicating that you're a schmuck and you just don't care about the presenter who's worked hard to bring this to you. You're communicating to your colleagues and peers who you may have an opportunity to do business with one day, that you are someone who's like a little bit all over the place. So remember that someone is watching you all the time. Remember that you are seen all the time. And so online is no different than in person. You want to get up, dress up, you want to be prepared, you want to have done your practice and your dry runs, and you want to get there as if you were in a board meeting with a room with all the people around you, and you want to focus and you want to get them your attention. Why? Well, when you run your presentation, don't you want the same? Don't you want to feel like people listened to you and were interested in what you were saying? So that what you want to get, you have to give first, okay? Doesn't matter what you believe in terms of natural laws or supernatural laws. I believe that the natural laws are owned by the supernatural laws anyway. So, you know, it's like what you give, you're going to get. And if you're all over the place and we're in your disco, in your lounge, and there's so much going on, the distraction is crazy. And people will then associate your character and your professional capacity with that which is going on around you. So important, that visual. So you don't want to communicate that you're all over the place. All right. And so focus. And then we're going to move on to number 5. Okay, so what I'm going to do, number 5 is actually about having an agenda and using some cheat sheets. So when it comes to attending a meeting, you will normally prepare an agenda, right? Now, if you don't have an agenda, and if you're running the meeting, it's going to take more energy, more time, and you will look like you haven't prepared and you don't know what you're doing. And when in fact, that's just not the case. So if you run an agenda in a normal meeting, do the same thing online. But what I want to show you right now is, remember I said to you, I have the 10 steps of a checklist that I'm going to give you, and I want to show you a quick picture of a cheat sheet. Okay, so we're going to switch over for a minute, just for a couple of seconds, to a picture that I took of my slides on the side. Now, there you can see the monitor in front of me, and I've got, this is from a conference a week ago, And I've just got out of screenshot a couple of sticky notes and some notes at the bottom that help me to stay on track and help me to remember where I'm going for two reasons. Number one, it honors everybody else's time. And notes are not just okay to take, notes are really essential, just like any meeting. But number two, like I said to you, I love chatting. I get into conversations easily. And if I don't have my bullet points in front of me, then I get off track pretty quickly. So you want to make sure that you figure it out. Like right now, as I come back to you on screen, then right behind me, I'm looking directly at the camera, but right behind me, I've got my list of 10 of the checklist that I'm sharing with you. So I don't need to look anywhere else. All I'm doing right here is I'm taking my notebook and I'm adding some bullet points under the 10 list. But as I look at the camera right ahead of me right now, if I just lift my gaze quickly, then I'm looking at number 5, which is agenda and cheat sheets. Okay, so cheat sheets are great because they do help you to look more professional. And wow, we're at number 5. So if I didn't have this and we were just doing a high level, I would need no notes. But of course, I have notes. They're just out of shot. Okay, so you want to use cheat sheets to the side. You can use some press stick with some, what are the people, blue tack, or you want to just stick them on just out of shot or just above. And that makes me feel more hands-free, like I don't need notes and looking down because I like to keep eye contact. But when there is kind of technical detail and other things going on, I will use a couple of notes, okay? But that's number 5 is agenda and cheat sheets. Number 6, I've mentioned it already, is the dry run. So if you are presenting, or even if you're just going to be called into part of the presentation or part of the meeting, every successful company in the world knows that practicing and dry running, and that is how champions win games. They pitch up, they practice, repeat, and they come back again. And they pitch up and they practice and they hit repeat and they come and do the same again. So if you have a presentation, especially if you've got one that you're doing on a regular basis, you want to dry run it. You want to test it. You know, about 20 years ago, when I started working with my husband in a brand new field in business negotiation, I drove him crazy because I had a whole new client in front of me, a very technical, high level, very senior procurement director kind of client, which I was not used to engaging with. I'm a very different kind of character. I'm all about the relationship and the opportunity. And they want to talk technical details and process and protocol and value and so on. And so I can do that, but it wasn't my natural go-to. So I used to dry run with Jan every single day. The minute you walked into the door at the office, I would say, great, yeah, great, grab a seat. And okay, now this is who you are and this is who I am. Or this is, now I'm that person. Now, and then I said to him, would you just throw the biggest objectives my way? Would you just hit me with everything that you're not happy with? Could you just throw object? And I just want to strengthen my response. I want to strengthen my understanding. And that's another conversation for another time, is when an objection comes your way, the last thing you want to do is defend it. You do not ever want to defend that which somebody is saying, yeah, but what about price? Or what about this? There's a way. We can talk if you need help in that. But there's some very, very simple things there. So you have to dry run, you have to practice, you have to simulate your presentation, including getting up and dressing up and using the environment around you. And if you want to do it with one or two colleagues or friends and get their feedback, that's a very smart thing to do. All right, at number 6, you see now I'm looking at my cheat sheets. At number 7, we're at number 7 on what to wear. Okay, so number 7, what to wear to your online meetings. And if I look to my right very quickly, I see a beautiful woman by the name of Sandra, who I think Mark is on here as well. We are just getting to know each other. She's actually one of my clients. And this woman has gone from 0 to hero in a matter of weeks on understanding the power of personal style. And here I'm seeing her dressed very, very differently than I did a couple of months ago. So I'm going to take the opportunity and say, Sandra, you're just rocking this thing, boy. She's in a beautiful gray suit blazer or jacket, and she's got a nice white collar and just looking absolutely gorgeous. I love that. So when it comes to what you wear on camera, you are noticed. Don't think that people don't see the detail. People see the detail. We are naturally designed for detail. So I'm just going to give you a very, very short list in terms of basic guidelines of what you wear. First, you want to find out who is your audience. So who are you connecting with, right? So the audience that I'm speaking to right now, I am attempting and doing my best to be professional and to, get up, dress up. So I'm looking at my environment, what's going to work. Obviously, I can't wear red. But the black, white, and red, I've kind of thought about everything. I've kind of tested it as well. And I've dry run it a couple of times. But if you are connecting with a very, very casual audience, you don't want to go in suited and booted. And that's going to be a disconnect, okay? You want to do one thing when you dress. You want to connect at the audience's level, but just a notch above. So if I'm connecting with a very formal business environment, I'm going to be suited and booted in heels, and like the whole thing, top down, left and right and front to back is going to be completely business formal. I'm going to be, and like, don't worry about overdressing. You know, people are too worried about that. Like, I don't think there's really such a thing as being overdressed, unless you're really dishonoring a certain dress code, which is not helpful. And that's another conversation for another time. But you want to connect with your audience and take it a notch above, because if you're presenting especially, you should be sharper. You should be making more effort. If people are taking the time and energy to sit here and listen to you, then you better make sure that you've made a massive effort at putting your best foot forward. So you want to decide what you wear based on dressing to connect with your audience. So what I've gone for example, is solid, foundational, basic colors like your black, your navy, your ivory, things like that are good to work with. Avoiding lots of like zebra lines and heavy patterns and like glaring colors, because that's just going to detract from your message, right? Doesn't mean you have to wear black top to toe. Doesn't mean that at all. It just means that, you know, the grays and the whites, for example, it just means that it's easy then to put on a lovely little pair of diamond earrings if you're a woman, or if you're a guy, you know, a nice pair of cufflinks on a collar shirt. Maybe you've got a sports blazer on, maybe not. It makes space for red lipstick and one or two other simple details that are not distracting, but actually are communicating that you have attention to detail, that you are a man or a woman of substance, and that you have taken time to get up, dress up, and come attend to this meeting. So, and if you're not sure about it, once again, test it, take pictures, get some feedback, and then make a decision. And if you want to bring as much about you into your outfit as possible, that's a good thing to do. So basic minimum accessories, right? So what I've got on is I've got my favorite. I have a partner in jewelry called Complot. Miranda Constantinido is a famous and incredibly down-to-earth, amazing woman. She's the founder of a company called Complot, and we have a wonderful relationship and a friendship that's been growing over the years. And she has the most amazing pieces that are simple, versatile, and very affordable. But when you're on camera, you want to be careful not to over-accessorize, especially for women, because it will be distracting. So for men as well, you know, if you are someone who loves your heavy metal t-shirts and like you're that kind of guy, and that's okay, but is it appropriate? And is it going to connect or disconnect you from your audience? So I'm going to say this with men, it applies to both, but with men as well. I've often seen such very well-dressed men, well-presented. They know what they're doing. They're incredibly experienced. They have massive value. And then dirty fingernails. I'm not kidding. I don't know if he was gardening this morning or if he was playing with his kid, which is a wonderful thing to do. But the point is, people don't know. So if your basic grooming is missing, again, we are a fickle people. People will just drop their respect for you and think, that's the guy with dirty fingernails. You can hit every other tick box. You can be professional, you can be punctual, you can be incredibly valuable in terms of what it is that you're sharing. But if you're not groomed and you've got long fingernails or they're dirty or something's out of place, that's what people remember. So if you are a man who needs a sharp new hairstyle and you've been going to the same barber for 20 years and that same haircut has been costing you $7 and then $9 and then $12, and if that, you need to ask someone who you trust and who you love, not your mother or your brother or your lover, someone who will be honest with you and say, you know, I think you should take him a bottle of wine and say, dude, thank you. You've been an amazing barber, but I'm going to change things up a little bit and pay a little bit more to get a really nice, sharp, professional, modern haircut. Okay, so basic grooming. Red lipstick we've spoken about. Red is a power of color. And when you attract people to your mouth, then you need to show that you're smiling. Because if you're like me, then if I focus and I look elsewhere, I'm quick to, when I concentrate, I do this, I frown, which is why I've got this thing here, okay? So for years, I've been doing presentation skills since I was in my 20s, and I've got to do this all the time and remember to smile. And when you wear red lipstick, women, it's very, very powerful, because then you catch someone's eye and you catch the opportunity to connect. All right, and I've heard this a couple of times as well. This is the last point on this number 7, is they say, well, I don't present and I don't, well, okay, if you go into online meetings or even in person and you don't present and you're not the host and you're not, running the show, so what? Why don't you dress to attract that opportunity? Why don't you dress to attract that invitation? Dress as if you already are, if that's where you want to go, right? Why are you coming to this meeting anyway? Don't you want to further? It sounds like you want to grow. You're here because you're developing your skills in some way. So even if you're not doing that yet, dress to attract that opportunity and those people. All right, we're going to be moving on to number 8. It's the last one with some extra notes. Is everyone okay? I'm going to just check in with everyone for a minute and just tell me, am I too fast? Do I need to slow down a little bit? Okay, John, we're all good? Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Angelina. Lila, thank you so much. Julian, good to see you. All right. I just need to take a minute and look at the faces, okay? I love that. It helps me. And then I just don't see myself with the bottom here just moving all around. David, thank you, by the way. Mr. Durego, you're looking sharp. Really, really, really sharp. I don't know if anyone, I'm not sure what the view is from your side, but David Durego, if you can see him, he actually is perfectly outfitted for an online meeting like this, and he has a green screen, I'm assuming, David, around him. It's not a green screen. Oh my gosh, those are real windows. Nice. Okay, so it's they probably are, whatever it is, that's awesome. It actually looks like a green screen that for the first time I thought I quite like that, but it's not, which is why I liked it. Okay, so whatever it is, I like it. I might connect with you and see what that is. Maybe they're folders, those blinds that can move. That's awesome. I'll catch up with you. All right, so we are at number 8, which is body language. All right, now I'm going to show you something. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen this, okay? This kind of slouchy, body language that's just saying, oh my gosh, when is she going to finish? Like, how long is it going to be? And just every time I see this person, when I'm looking at him, he's like rubbing his neck, which means I'm a pain in my neck. That's what she's doing. And slouchy posture, folks, posture, body language, your non-verbal must line up with your verbal. It's so important. Why? Because if it doesn't, then people assume and experience you to be untrustworthy. And if you send that message, you're saying that you're okay to be losing opportunities and potentially income and potential promotion and a potential invitation on a lunch date or a dinner date, okay? So you want to make sure that your posture is really, really good. And you're giving yourself the time and attention to what is my posture? Do I slouch? If you're a sloucher, then you're communicating that you're a sloucher. Okay. I asked my little 6-year-old this morning, because I'm just interested in if my kids are catching what I'm throwing down from time to time. And I said, what's the one thing that, because she said, what are you doing tonight? She takes an interest. She's 6 years old. She's amazing. And I said, she would talk about confidence on camera, technology, what to wear. And I said, what would you say, Paige, to some amazing people who we're going to get together with tonight? What would you say in terms of what to wear? You know what she said to me? I thought it was so damn clever. She just said, what you wear is how you feel. I'm like, oh, that's so good. I love that. What you wear is how you feel. Don't wear what you feel. Don't feel and then wear, okay? It's the other way around. That's why sometimes when you're feeling miserable, you look miserable. She said, well, Mom, what I wear is how I feel. So, and I said, give me some examples. She said, well, if I dress for a conference, I want to go to a conference. And if I dress she said, if I dress slack, I don't know what she got there, but she said, if I dress slack, I'm going to be slack. She did that. The child is 6, okay? 6. If she gets it, we can. And my husband and I went on an awesome date night. That's a whole other conversation for another time on Saturday night. It was amazing. And she said, like you and Dad, Mom, if I want to go on a date night, if I dress for a date night, you're going to have an amazing date night. I thought it was really, really clever. Okay, so body language, eye contact, okay? You need to figure out when you're online, is it distracting for you to look at yourself? Or do you need to see pictures of all the Zoom boxes in front of you? You need to figure that out. If I have everyone in front of me, then I'll be looking all over the place because I'm highly visual and I'll be wanting to think, oh, I wish I could just stop and talk to Siggy right now. And that's not appropriate, okay? So I have a couple of people and it changes up from time to time, which is amazing. I love that. So I think that is the beautiful Savannah in the background, but that really helps me. It might even be my awesome husband because he's also co-hosting this thing, and I'm just blessed to have amazing people around me. So normally I would obviously be driving everything. Normally I would be, but for various reasons, I'm just I've got a couple of people who've come alongside me just to demonstrate more than I normally would which is fantastic. Okay. And that's part of it. So eye contact is really important. What helps me is to look directly into the camera, not be looking at myself, because if I look at myself, then I'm looking down here. But if I look directly at the camera, I still can see that I'm online, that we haven't lost connection, and that things are going on. And I see to the right of me, I see about 4 boxes at a time that switches up from time to time of people, which really, that's my view. That's what I like. You need to figure out what works for you, what distracts you from eye contact, and what works for you. Okay. Number 2 on this is hand gestures and posture. We've spoken about that already. I really need to remind myself a lot, like, I don't know if this is distracting for a lot of people. I've been in presentations where years and years ago, where people have said, you need to not use your hands and you must maintain a very calm and slow stance. And you need to speak and say the following words. I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to fail already. Oh my gosh, they're going to kick me out. Okay. No, you need to use your words. You must use your posture, your stance, speak from your heart. And if you are someone who is demonstrative like I am, just be aware of it. And again, if you are in a very, very technical environment, like the amazing clients I used to work with when I was in corporate, then they're not very demonstrative with their hands. So it's not that I'm going to stop doing it, because literally I will probably not know what to say next, but I'm just going to slow it down. I'm just going to manage it a little bit more. It's called mirroring. You can go and find a guy by the name of Alan Pease, P-E-A-S-E. He's one of the global well-known gurus on the topic of body language. He's got a massive, he's been going for years and years and years and years. He's an Australian, he's hilarious. And he has books that talks about how to profit from conversations, how to know if the girl likes you. So he's very, very clever with that kind of thing. But when it comes to posture and hand gestures, you really need to understand that what you're doing must connect and not disconnect you. And wherever possible, minimize it if you are someone who's crazy with the hands a little bit like I am. Okay, so we've spoken about your focus, and then I just wrote it down again that you need to smile. But what's really important from a presentation point of view, whether or not you are being pulled in to ask questions, or whether or not you are being pulled into co-host or co-present, or whether you are the presenter, what's really important is that you speak from the heart. This is, I'm just going to slow down on this one issue for a minute. This is going to give you confidence. If anybody has trained you to speak and stand in a way that doesn't come naturally to you, I'm just going to step out there and say, just ditch that. That is not the right way. People want to hear from you. So why would you take somebody else's words, somebody else's stance, somebody else's way? It's not the right way. It's going to make you lose focus on the content, because you're going to be trying to remember the word when the word really is there already. You have the value and the experience already. And even if you're still building up on that, you need to speak in a way that is natural to you. I am not the most formal speaker when it comes to being in a business environment. And I've been in business for a long time, and I've learned so much. And I can tell you that I have connected with many more people much quicker by being myself than when I did when I started out in my 20s. I actually started working when I was 17. I try to be someone else. I try to emulate somebody else's presentation and connection. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't look right. You look awkward. You come across pretty silly, actually, and sometimes a bit what's the word? You can be intimidating if you're trying to just, be perfect and bold and presentable and, this perfect polished position. It's like, no, it doesn't work. So if you want some feedback on your voice or your tempo or your stance or whatever it is, I want to give you another tip in terms of camera. Some people are not comfortable when the camera goes on, and yet they're in camera a lot. When someone takes a photograph of you, suddenly they stand like a soldier. So you never do that when you're talking to people, right? You don't stand with your hands hanging at the side and in this square thing and looking straight on. Like, it's not a mug shot, okay? When someone takes the camera out, don't be the other side either and go like, oh my gosh, I hate photos. No, okay, get over it, get over yourself. Cameras exist and photographs are amazing. Think about the magic. Film and photography are right up there and like all the wonders of the world for me, along with the color red and a couple other things. But think about life and, there's motion. That's why it's called motion picture film. But think about, as I'm happening right now, and you can take a picture and suddenly there's a still captured memory for life of that moment. It's phenomenal. So don't be that person who goes like, oh, I don't like pictures. And if you have one stance as well, if you're like, this is my best side and I only stand this side, no, get over yourself. What about the other person who wants to stand that side? Or what about the other person who's not feeling confident? See what other people want to do and be the one to say, you know what, I'm just going to be confident. I'm just going to, what is going to be honoring to others? And put your best foot forward, give it your best shot, smile your beautiful big smile, and be done with it. And that photo, that camera, that moment could turn out to be something very special for you. All right, so that's the last note on that. Then we're getting to the big one, okay? This is number 9, and we're going to wrap up number 10. Number 9 is the one thing. Okay, now this is for you. If you're here because you're not a 10 out of 10 on confidence on camera, you are not there when it comes to feeling like, hey, you can get on any stage, whether it's digital or in person or in front of 1,000 people. If you are doing meetings, whether it's with 2 people or with 200, and you're presenting, I'm going to tell you the one thing that changed it up for me years and years ago. It's this. Are you ready? I'm checking if you're ready. Okay. You've got your focus. You know why you're feeling a lack of confidence? Your focus is on your performance. You need to shift your focus on delivering value. I'm going to say that again. You're lacking confidence because you're focused on how you're doing, on how you're performing. You're focused on your performance, how you look, how you sound, how you're dressed, what are they going to say? So shift your focus from your performance to delivering value. Whatever that is, whatever your skill is, whatever your expertise is, this is the number one rule of thumb that I can give you for successful connection on digital and video conferencing and meeting. Because after all, they're here to learn from you, or they're here to do life with you in business or one reason or another, right? So don't you then put all their effort and their attendance, everything on you. They're not here to see how you present and how you perform. They're here for the value. So shift your focus to delivering that value, and you will soon forget about how you're doing. Because really at the end of the day, it's all about the heart. What's your motivation? Are you here to be the star of the show and to walk out and be famous and be heralded? But no, you're not. You're here to deliver value. You're here to give. You're here to, that's like a real secret sauce right there, is just give, be generous, help people as much as you can. The reason I'm doing this, you know, tomorrow is like, I'm so excited about tomorrow. I can almost cry. We are reaching a major deadline, and I see behind me, I see my beautiful assistant Carla, who's smiling because we are so excited. We'll cry and drink champagne tomorrow. We are reaching a major milestone. We're not going to crawl over the finish line either. We're going to finish strong. We're going to get it dressed up for it. But what's happening is I saw a few people and a few things in the past week. And I saw people really struggling online, and I know some of them, and they have high value. They're so good at what they do, but they're so worried about how they're performing that I went to my husband. I said, I feel like I've got to do a confidence on camera webinar. And he's like, great idea. And then let's run with it. Then I did it. I planned it. I marketed. Suddenly a whole bunch of people pitch up, and I'm like, shit, I feel under pressure. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a lot nervous. No, what am I? And then I just, you know what? So then I don't say, am I going to do this? I never give myself a gap to say yes or no. I never ask, am I going to do this? It's always, how am I going to do this? So that is the number one thing, is like, don't worry about your performance, just deliver value. And if you can help one person, it's really, really important. Okay. Number 10 is at the end of your meeting, at the end of your presentation, you want to have a proper wrap up, a summary, and an agreement if there's any actions to be taken after the meeting. Just because you're not in the boardroom or in the office or at the actual location doesn't mean you must conduct yourself in a different way. So wrap up, make sure you get agreement on what the action items are, and then make sure that you might even want to make a note of sending thank you cards to some people. So if you send thank you cards, you know, I learned this from my coach, actually. I'm smart because I have a coach and mentor, and I know that my best game cannot stay here unless I have someone who's challenging and inspiring me. Her name is Dani Johnson, DANI Johnson.com. She's the best on the planet. I have high freaking standards and expectations, and she is the best. I have worked with many coaches, many professionals, The woman is my coach and mentor for 7 years for a reason. She challenges me. She encourages me. When I took some time off and I became a full-time homeschooling mom, and I felt like the worst mom in the world, she was the only one who came alongside me and said, "You're an awesome mom." I mean, the woman changed my life. I am married happily today as a result of that woman, thanks to my brother and my friend Richard Morton, who introduced us to her. You want to make sure that if you want to win at your game, if you want to be the best at your game, then you need to make sure that you are challenged and trained and equipped by a coach who's got the results that you want. So DannyJohnson.com, go check it out. It's awesome. And there's a virtual conference coming up, by the way. I'm so glad I just remembered that. If you want to know more about that, you need to email Carla, K-A-R-L-A, at lindapage.com. So that's my business name, Carla at lindapage.com, and say, what is this virtual conference? Or if you go and check it out online, just connect with us. I can organize a couple of things for you. So there's a virtual conference called First Steps to Success coming up in July, and it changed our whole lives. It took us from drowning in debt, facing my second divorce, being a guilty absent mother, being a 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock kind of girl. I couldn't get through a day without having a drink. I was a shopaholic. I was a mess. And thanks to I Could Just Cry a River, 7 years later, I have a coach, and she just is the same today that she was then. And she's the same on stage as she is off stage. So if you need someone, then I encourage you to go there. Okay, so let me focus. So wrap up, agree any actions to be taken. And she's the one who taught me to send handwritten thank you cards. I'm like, what? It's the 21st century. And she's like, exactly. People need connection. People desire connection, especially COVID-19 and all of that, right? We desire connection. So don't lose that opportunity. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to show you one, before we switch over, I want to show you one very, very powerful thing. What you have here in front of you, okay, the screen in front of you, you need to see it as very, very valuable real estate. Like, remember I said you claim the space, okay? Not just the space like wherever you are around you, but you want to make sure that you're putting in front of people a message that you want them to see and remember. I'm going to give you an example, okay? So before we switch over, I'm just going to, this is especially important if you're in sales, or if you're closing deals, or if you are putting presentations in front of people to do business and to get deals, okay? What you have here in front of you, I'm going to show you how to use visual anchors so they must be non-text intensive and not too heavy on any other detail, but visual anchors is a very powerful way to do business online. It's actually much easier than in person. So I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to show you a few slides from my business, okay? So yes, of course, I'm doing this for a reason. I want to give you some things that I know what I'm talking about. Visual anchoring online looks like this, for example, okay? So I will say to you, for example, I told you that I'm the founder of Linda Page, and what I do is I equip men and women to become wildly confident through the power of personal style. I just want to make sure that we have that slide in front of us. So I help people become wildly confident through the power of personal style. Okay, so that's what I do. Now, I use a lot of visuals in my business. We have a lot of coaching that goes on a weekly basis, and it's very, very visual intensive. But what I want to show you here for your presentations and your video conferencing is you really need to use pictures in front of you to get your face out of the video for a minute and to put other suggested visuals in front of them. So I'm going to show you a couple of, okay guys, sorry, we just are a little behind on technology, bear with me. No, I need the next slide, thanks. No, the next one, thank you. Thank you guys. Listen, I'm speaking like this on purpose so that you can hear me. These things happen, okay? So what we want to do, there we go. All right, okay. All right, 2 glitches, that's cool. So we're going to flick over to these things fast. So what we do in our coaching environment is teach our clients to wear something that is eye-catching, conversation starting, and relationship building. Because life is all about people, and I believe that fashion is a powerful connector. You want to dress to connect for that interview, for that date. We do simple style secrets for the fabulous full-time mom. We work with men and women alike. So there, for example, is Amy again, very simple things. The beautiful Jenny went from feeling very low on confidence and feeling frumpy to building a beautiful wardrobe on a budget, turning heads, and now her husband takes her everywhere. Low self-esteem as well. Kyle, the handsome man in front of you, searching for his purpose, to now saying he feels like he can conquer the world just from learning some very, very simple style secrets. The beautiful Kelsey in front of you. Red lipstick was a game changer for her. And now this is something that I often end with, that you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. And style is just a skill. And I'm all about simplifying and systemizing. And you can put these messages in front of people, like this one that I'm going to do with you right now. So if you go to wildlyconfident.com/Linda Page, if you are someone who really struggles with confidence, if you're someone who knows that you're not fully getting up and being that bold, successful, confident person, and you want to have a chat about it, this is not to say that you and I will work together. What this is it will take you to a place where you can establish whether or not you're someone who is ready to make the decision and take the step to move forward and ask some questions and be asked some questions, and then potentially go into a 10-minute discovery process to establish whether or not you and I have common ground. Okay, so that's all I've done there. Is obviously one or two things may come of that, but maybe not. So what I'm trying to show you is, when you take your video, your face off the screen and you put in front of people, sometimes just one slide, sometimes two visuals, not with a lot of text on it, not a busy slide, then you really plant an idea in their mind. You plant some thoughts of, well, I don't know, maybe I should, or maybe so this is how you can use the real estate that is the digital space in front of you. Okay, so this is not to say that anything will happen with that. Whatever it is that you're selling, or whatever it is that you're representing, you are an ambassador of that, which is why we get up, dress up, and put our best foot forward. But you need to know that the power of personal style is one of the places where you'll get your confidence from. It is something that I've been doing for the longest time. The way that I dress has brought me interviews and promotions. I've been internationally headhunted, working on Mandela's PR team. I've always been the youngest and the least educated. I've got nothing beyond a high school education. And but boy, did I attend the, what do they call it? School of Hard Knocks or something like that. Anyway, street kind of cred, stuff like that, whatever. So you want to make sure that you've got one or two slides, and how you screen share is very easy, depending on whether you're using WebEx or depending on whether you use School of Hard Knocks, thank you, Doug, or Zoom. Then just play around and make sure you know on the toolbar, sometimes at the top, sometimes at the bottom, how to screen share. It's very, very easy. It flips over. Like today, it didn't work 100%. It always does. But of course, it didn't today. That's okay, because, hey, I know that you're human and so am I. So twice on this digital call, it didn't work well. And that's okay. It really, I think it's meant to be, to show you that it doesn't go smoothly. So what I was saying to Jan on the side here was like, let's roll to the next one. And it was showing up on his side, but not on mine. Then you go, oh, well. So normally what I was telling you there in the background was saying to you, listen, it's taking a little bit of time to let you know this can happen. What you want to do, obviously, in that is just continue the conversation and talk until it does go. And if it doesn't work out, you're going to say, folks, thanks so much. 3 or 4 seconds, and I'm sure we'll be up and running. But that really is it, folks. At the end of the day, when it comes to becoming confident online, then I'm going to summarize with saying the following 3 things is really, the one nugget that I gave you, remember, is shift your focus from your performance to delivering value. But preparation is the first bullet point. It's so important. You cannot practice enough. You know the old saying that if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail is really, really true. Number one, that your visual presentation is as important as your verbal and content delivery. The two are connected. You are not a separate being from your body. What's coming out your mouth must line up with what you're saying, both with what you're wearing and your environment. And number 3, the final thing I'm going to say to you is, screw it, just do it, okay? The alternative is to shrink back, hold back, die a slow death in your comfort zone, which is your dead zone, and you're going to get to an old age one day and say, man, you know what? I wish I had done that. I wish I had tried that. Don't be hard on yourself. Action is the 3rd bullet point. Just go out and do it. And then when you do it, I teach this to my children. You have to screw up to be successful. because the first time you fall and fail is the next step closer to you getting it right. So don't let online video conferencing intimidate you. Don't let it hold you back from us learning from you and I connecting, from somebody meeting you and thinking, oh my gosh, this is the perfect kind of person that I need in my business, or the perfect person that I need to recruit services from, because that could be you. Don't let this screen, don't let this TV, yes, it's different, but just connect. You just get up, dress up, put your best foot forward, prepare, take action, and you will learn. Experience is going to give you confidence. That's why from working from the age of 17, I'm 48 now. Okay, I have had a lot of stuff ups, a lot of mistakes. I've also had some amazing successes. And the more I do it, the more I take action, the more confident I become. So I'm going to wrap up. That was definitely longer than I thought. And we're going to have probably a very, very short window for Q&A. So thank you to those. If you're not staying for Q&A, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for putting up with the technical glitches. That you know that I planned that, right? I planned them exactly no, I didn't. I didn't. So hope you can stay on for a little while. If you've got a question, I'd love to answer them. But if you're off and you need to go, I understand. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to the beautiful Savannah and Lila, who are going to facilitate the Q&A session. And they're going to line you up and make sure that the questions come in. That we do a first come, first serve kind of environment, and we'll take it from there.
Great. Thank you so much. Let me cancel spotlight video. Here we go.
The beautiful Savannah.
Yeah, you should see me now. There we go. Okay, so first up, we have got Doug D, who I think is in Illinois, if I'm reading that right.
While I'm waiting for Savannah, because she knows what she's doing with the Q&A.
Are you not?
Thanks, Paula. Thank you, David. Thanks so much.
I hear you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Deborah, good to see you. Christy from South Africa, good to see you online.
I think she's not hearing us. Linda, are you hearing us?
Thank you for joining us. Susan, Stephanie, Nancy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience, folks. We're just waiting for Savannah to take over, and then we'll do a Q&A. And by the way, just so you know, I'm trying this for the first time. Lila, no, I can't hear you at the moment. So not right now.
Can we try again? Are we coming through?
Thank you, folks, for your patience. This really is worth waiting for, because I have waited for Q&A sessions, and sometimes one question can be a real game changer. You can hear Savannah, so we can't hear Savannah, but everyone else can. My amazing husband and business partner is right over there, and is my right-hand man. I'm his right-hand man, and together we do our thing in the world. And we don't say, are we going to do this? It's like, let's just do this and let's figure out how we're going to do this. So thank you, guys. Jana's just figuring out the audio. If there is someone who wants to type a question so long, and there's pictures coming up here in front of me on the text box, I can answer that by text so long. Savannah, I see you. Lila,
can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
No, not yet.
Oh, Lord, please make it glitch. Isn't that fantastic? Technical glitch. Awesome.
Okay. Doug, do you want to try typing your question?
The chat box comes up, and I can see your typed.
No, Savannah, I'll take a pass on that.
Work either. Then, but thank you for being patient with Jan. He's amazing. This is a global chief exec, by the way, who is on speed dial to the head legal counsel of Adidas and Nokia and companies like that, because that's who he is. And he gives me his time and his patience when I say, babes, please help me with this thing. I'm trying a couple of new things, and he's awesome that way. But yeah, I can still see you guys. Savannah, Lila, I cannot hear you.
I'm just testing again, testing.
Rock, no. Man. Yes, he does. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay, see, that's all. We're human. It's perfect. Like I said, we planned this. It's all part of the professional presentation. No, I didn't. What screen was the sticky note sheets? Just a computer screen. Okay, Carrie. Well, it is a monitor. I don't know what kind. It's a monitor, the screen that we use. Do you know? Yeah, it's just a separate monitor. So I have a laptop, and it's a large screen monitor because I do a lot of work with lots of visuals. So it helps me to just to see things better rather than a teeny tiny screen. So it's just a separate monitor that you can get anywhere. They're actually super cheap, especially post-corona. If there's anyone else with a question, what is the male equivalent of red lipstick? Good question. Good question. I can tell you a good hairstyle. I'm not even kidding you. You know, some men who are balding, and some men bald from a young age, right, need really just to go and shave it all off. It's a better, stronger, sharper look. Like I see you in front of me, like yours, David. The equivalent is anything that's on your face, okay? So a lot of men like beards or like that. You got to make sure that it does enhance your features, that your woman likes it if you have a woman, and that it actually positions the message that you want to position. So it's all around your beard, and the hair over here is all around your mouth, right? So if it's hiding your smile, you're going to want to maybe think about some grooming. It's really down to grooming when it comes to men. Folks, I don't blame you if you need to jump off and go, and if you're getting really sick and tired of this, but Jan's doing his best. Do you have energy building warm-ups? You mentioned preparing if you will be up late. Savannah, thanks for your question. No, not really. Obviously, you know, eating and healthily and you know, which I don't always get right, by the way. I do my best every day, but I am someone who loves food. So I just make sure that when I am going to be, I have a lot of energy anyway. I think anyone who knows me knows I'm a very passionate and driven woman, but I also have my slow days and my down days. And so I'll make sure that I either spend my energy in the morning if I'm going to be sitting for a lot, or if I'm going to be needing to be walking, talking, presenting everything, I will just maintain a really, really slow, calm, and level schedule for the day ahead. So I don't expend too much energy. And the big thing there is schedule and focus. I do not have family time mixed in with business time if I've got a very focused presentation coming up. I really get in the zone pretty early. So Lila, tell me if you, Lila, I can see you, and I can see you're muted from our side. Jan, sounds on?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes. I don't know who's talking, but I can hear someone. Is that you?
Great. Doug, do you want to unmute yourself and try your question?
I'd love to. Hi, my friend.
Hello, Doug.
I've seen you in casual environments. Today's the first time I've seen you in a business environment, and this is the first time I've never seen anything around your neck. Was there a reason for that? An accessory.
I love how observant you are. That's amazing, by the way. So no, I think I'm actually someone who prefers big, chunky, bold earrings. Like, this is very minimal for me. And I often wear detail around my neck, which is more collars or strong, bold, you know, like not ruffles per se, but just strong, bold feature here. And I'm more about maybe a bracelet and earrings. I often wear chunky earrings. I have one or two necklaces that I think maybe you have seen in a casual environment that I don't wear in a business environment. Reason being, because I am more particular about what matches. So the necklaces, if I'm thinking about them, are far more smart casual. You'd be absolutely right about that. And they're not, I'm in a business casual environment right now. They just, don't go with this. These are kind of my go-tos for business. And they get in my way, like they distract me. So good question. I don't know if that's going to help you with my answer, but I have less distractions on me when I'm in business mode because I need to focus. When I'm in a social environment, anything goes, like big, beautiful bling, just whatever it is, anything goes.
Can we have, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, Sigitas next? Because his or her question is similar on wearing gloves. Are you there? Or I'll go ahead and read that question out. Can someone wear gloves instead of doing their nails?
Okay, well, I mean, I'm going to say two things. I don't believe that anyone, including me, even though I'm an image consultant and I do this for a living, I don't believe that I've got the right to tell you that you can or can't wear something. I think that is an elitist mindset, and actually creates an exclusive environment rather than being inclusive, which I'm all for. I feel very strongly about that. But if you're asking me, and if you are really wanting my honest opinion, then I would say no, it's not okay to wear gloves, because I want to say this. this might affect some other people as well. There's a lot of people who say that, who feel like the handshake is very, it's too formal and too not intimate, and that hugging is better. If you have a judgment over hands and shaking hands instead of hugging, what you think is better, I'm going to tell you that you're disconnecting without even knowing it from some people. For me, hands are extremely, extremely personal. My hands touch my face. My hands touch my business. They touch my food. They touch my children. So hands for me, including that I have the most unique, there's only one kind of DNA that on my fingers. These hands are very, very intimate for me. Holding hands is actually, I've got a couple of girlfriends who know me this way, that I'm not a hugger. I just don't like it. I wasn't raised like that. Really, people also get their makeup all over me and mess my hair up, okay? This hair takes a long time, all right? So I'm just going to shoot straight with you. So hugging, now, every time I share that, I think, oh, Linda, why did you do that again? Because someone else is going to say, don't worry, I'm not going to hug you, a handshake. What I am saying, no, I go out of my way to honor people who do like hugging. I really do. But when I put out my hand, I so often get, I don't know, I don't do handshakes. I'm a hugger. I'm like, okay, there's another one. It's okay. You're not the first. You ain't going to be the last. But hands are really, really intimate. And unless you have had serious injury or burn or something to your hands that you feel uncomfortable with, I want to see your hands. Hands are really important. The handshake, the watch, there's so much you can do to communicate, to be a man of substance through your hands, through a classic watch, through your ring if you're married or something else, or hands are important. So unless there's a reason for that, Siggy, I would say, let us see your hands.
Brilliant. We've got Mark From next. So Mark, if you can unmute yourself, and then after you is Magdalena. So you'll unmute yourself after Mark. And then our third question is from Cassie. So Mark, if you're there, otherwise otherwise let me know if you want me to read your question out for you. So Mark, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, thanks. Hi, Linda. Thank you for the opportunity to ask this question. I was wondering if it's okay to have a presentation standing, because I'm a pretty not really outgoing, and it's easier for me if I stay. It's easier also for me to be more outgoing and to involve people more than just sitting. I'm pretty straight when I sit.
Yes, that's a perfect question and such a relevant one. Thank you, Mark. So both will go. There is a very strong case for standing. In businesses, in our companies, we used to have stand-up meetings because it keeps people more focused and it makes sure that the meeting doesn't go on and on and on for ages, right? So standing gives you a different kind of energy as well. And you need to just practice with that and see what works for you. So if standing makes you feel more confident, you're more grounded, you feel more planted on the ground, and you have a stronger, more confident, still approachable presentation, I would say stand, no problem. I do both. So currently I'm sitting because for various reasons, plus it's almost midnight. So I know I'm slightly lower on my energy at this time of the day. But sitting also for me gives a slightly more casual environment, and I can lean forward and do what I'm doing right now, for example. But if standing works for you and you feel stronger and more confident, by all means claim that space. Yeah, and then just obviously set everything up accordingly so the camera is here or slightly just above so you can connect with your audience. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Can we have Magdalena? Perfect. You're already there. Brilliant.
Hi, Magdalena.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for doing this webinar. It was very, very helpful. My question is, sometimes when I'm presenting or I'm doing like a live video, I get so stressed, even though I'm prepared and I've got my notes, that I actually forget what I was talking about. So I kind of go blank in my kind of head. Do you have any suggestions on how to overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but it's simple. It's the golden nugget that I gave you. The good news is that people are not thinking about you as much as you think that they think about you. So this is why, a lot of women I work with, they're like, I don't want to wear red lipstick because I don't want to attract all that attention to myself. I'm still building up my confidence. I'm like, why not? What's so special about you that we shouldn't notice you sooner? You're saying that you're disqualifying yourself. You're setting yourself apart in a different way. But seriously, the good news is when you get up, dress up, and you present whatever it is that you're presenting on your video call, or you know, wherever it is, Magda, that people are there for the value. They're not there for your performance, like I said. So that is what I did. Like, oh my gosh, you need to know your body as well and what happens to you. And for example, you're going to work with your biology. For some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, when I speak on camera, and especially when I'm recording and filming, I have to swallow a lot. I'm not nervous. It irritates the crap out of me. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. And so even drinking water doesn't help, but I've just come to accept it. And the more I accept it, the more I don't notice it. Although it's irritating, you know why? Because it stops me. I have to stop speaking to swallow. I can't do both. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But people are there for your value, and you have major, major value. You have such incredible experience. Forget about your performance and just talk about the thing that you are there to do. Maybe use your cheat sheets if you need to put that around you, or maybe you've got something inspiring that you can put behind you that helps you to focus on. Even say that, it's just focus on delivering value. That's it. And you will find that once you just tell yourself, your body will follow and you'll forget about it. Thank you.
Great. All right, I'm going to read out a question from Cassie, and then after that is David, let me find your last name, Derego after me. So Cassie asks, how do you manage work and keeping it balanced with life? I find that my work as a writer really tends to take over my life a lot. I can relate to that. I find it very hard to be okay with downtime.
Ah, okay. Is there a way, Savannah, that I can see who the question is coming from, or is that not possible right now? It's okay.
It's not possible. It's one of my teammates as well.
Okay. So, good question. All right. So the word work-life balance doesn't make sense to me anyway, because work is part of life, right? You're trying to separate the two. Well, that's your first problem right there. Okay. So work is a part of life. You just need to decide what is your priority. Okay. I know all about being that burnt out businesswoman and getting the trophies and the promotions and all the accolades, but having no patience, no time, and no energy for my family. It sucks. It's not right. And it actually makes it all about us. So if you're working and you're burning out, a couple of questions you want to ask yourself. Why are you working so hard? What does working so hard bring you? Is it a performance-based thing? Are you getting love and recognition and approval and gratitude because you're working so hard? And you're killing yourself and you're burning yourself out, right? So you have to go back to basics and decide, okay, what is it that I set out to do in life? What is it that I said long ago that I want to do? And dig deep and pull out that passion again. And then you've got to find someone who's going to help you to manage your time and to teach you how to prioritize. And I gave you it again. I'm telling you, that's where I learned major time skills with my coach, Danny. She's seriously the best in it. She works 20 hours a week. She used to at one stage, 20 hours a week. And she has several businesses. I know many people like this, actually. The most important thing, you can be efficient and not effective, right? You can be effective and not efficient. For example, you can work really, really well at something. You can do it a lot and not be effective at all. You can just not achieve the goal. You want to be making, because you can be doing the wrong thing well, right? So you want to make sure that the thing that you set out to do in life is what it is. So for example, did you get sucked into something else? Maybe you need to revisit your vision and your dreams and your goals, but are you getting your recognition? What's making you work so hard? There's a pull there, there's a magnet there that you need to see what is the magnet. And you need to come back and decide, do you want to be platinum and tired and whatever by the age of whatever it is? I don't know how old you are now, but it happens really fast. I got to tell you, your mind and your body slow down really quickly when you get to 50 and 55. And I have felt like in the last 3 years, between 45 and 48, man, do all those hard years start working on you, and unless you really manage it. So focus is the key here. I'm working with a coach at the moment. He's phenomenal. He's just really, really good at what he does. His name is Sam Ovens. He's a master of focus. He's the only coach I've ever worked with, and the only person who's actually succeeded in getting me up at 5 a.m. for a specific project that I was working on. So focus is the key to doing the thing you love, to getting the results, and making sure that you create time for downtime. I believe as human beings, we are designed to work and play. We're designed to give and to receive. So because you're a human being, I can make the same assumption about you. You do like to rest. You do like to have fun. You just need to look at your environment and ask yourself a couple of hard questions. Is this a life you want to be living? And are these the people who are bringing you fun and adventure and inspiration? Or are you just doing what everyone else is doing around you? And by the way, they're going to be burnt out soon as well. So it's focus and it's priorities and it's the motivation. Why are you working so hard? What are you getting out of it that is keeping you there?
Great answer. Thank you. We're going to go to David DeRego. If you're there, David, can you unmute yourself and ask?
I'm here.
Hey, David.
Hi, Linda. I'm fine. You look phenomenal. Thank you. And shout out to you and Jan. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is amazing. So to get to the point, as it relates specifically, because you called me out because my background, I'm all suited up. And then I have this humongous headset that's just like, I look like I'm like calling for fire or I don't, And my question about that specifically, Linda, because I presume that you've probably been, I can safely assume that you've been on a lot more phone calls than me. So when you're talking to people at like elite levels or just, in a business environment in which you want to do a deal, is it like Mark, like for example, Mark had really discreet little earbuds, or is it no earbuds and we have just the camera, things like that, because I can hear you better and I'm sure you could probably hear me better because it's noise canceling, but then all of a sudden you're looking at my humongous, like I'm like a DJ or something. So just want to ask that question.
I love it. I love your question. And you know what? I'm going to really make you feel good right now. I asked the same question about something separate of a technology issue to my filmmaker friend, Chris Jones, just a couple of hours ago, because I was trying something and he said, Linda, what makes you feel more confident and more comfortable? I'm like, oh, I don't want that. He's like, ditch it, don't do it. That's the simple answer. So if you're getting great sound, if you feel like, don't worry, nobody thinks you look weird. You don't look like you've got this big DJ thing going on. You are dressed, you're dressed for business casual. You have, you're well groomed. I think, your presentation, your eye contact, your focus, everything has been perfect. Plus, I want to find out in a minute, please, what that is behind you. If there are those folding blinds, is that what that is?
Yeah, from Amazon. I just looked up like something like screens or blinds, and then they give you a bunch, and it's $80. Okay.
The first non-green screen version of it that I've seen, and it works really well because some of them are so transparent, but that's great. So your whole presentation, your whole connection is there. If this makes you feel more confident, more focused, that's the right thing to do. It's that simple.
Cool.
Right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
You guys are awesome for staying online so long. I appreciate it.
I think he was our last question. Does anybody else want to chime in? If you want to, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. I think that wraps us up, if that's okay. So we do a thing with our screenwriting festival where we have everybody unmute themselves briefly to thank Linda so much for this amazing presentation. It's a cacophony, and that's okay. So if everybody wants to unmute themselves and go ahead and thank Linda, come on, let's do it.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda.
Good job.
Linda,
So appreciate you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
That was so good.
Thank you, Linda.
Delivering value was that was it right there.